Well, welcome back to the channel everyone, and it's a real quick and easy one today, and it's all about a really popular and effective method, mugging. Now if you fish any amount of commercial fisheries at this time of year, we're in May now, mugging will no doubt have won a match at your venue providing it's allowed, and on its day it is simply unbeatable. Now a lot of people wonder what the difference is between mugging and dobbing. It's just a turn of phrase really. Mugging is more spotting cruising fish and flicking your little rig at them, whereas dobbing is more of a winter tactic when you're sort of presenting like a piece of punch bread or something like that, double maggot in amongst some reeds and sort of like dobbing it along the bank trying to find them. So mugging's just like catching them off guard, if you like. So that's that. Now there's a lot of stuff that you need to cover with this. It's a simple method, you know, there's no feeding involved or anything like that, but there are a lot of points to it, and there's some really good anglers at, you know, at mugging. Andy Power, Jamie Hughes, anglers like that are just phenomenal at it. And I strongly believe that it's because their watercraft is better than everybody else. By that I mean they commit to it. So whereas a lot of anglers, me included, I've cost myself loads of matches doing this. It's, you know, you're thinking that mugging is just a top kit you have set up and every now and again you'll flick at them. It's not the way to do it though. If you want to win doing this, you've got to commit your match to it. By all means, you know, at some point in your match have a little feed somewhere, maybe a short pole or an edge, but if it's going to be a mugging day and you know that that's the right method to be on, you need to be on it for most of the match. The reason is, even on days like today, the sun's coming out in little spells, it's quite cloudy, but every now and again we get like spells where it really feels warm, and as soon as the sun comes out the fish come straight to the top, but they're not really feeding. However, I've had little spells today where I've flicked at them loads, and you can tell they're not interested, they just swim past the hook bait. But every now and again, there'll be a little 5-10 minute window where you'll get a few bites, and all of a sudden you catch 3 fish, and that might go £30. So this is what I mean by committing to it. I remember Joe Oakes, who's a really good local angler, he used to do really well mugging on these lakes. And I used to wonder how he used to do it, but it wasn't that he was doing anything special. Obviously his watercraft was brilliant, he was spotting the fish, but he was sort of committing to it. He was sitting there waiting for his opportunities to come, and that is what you've got to do with mugging, in my opinion. Now the tackle is simple. I've got a relatively long rig. I've probably got 1 metre of line above my between my float and my pole tip. I've got 13 Jura slip. There could be big fish that I hook on this, so you need to gear up accordingly. I've got a little 4x10 carp shallow. You may be thinking, why not using a dibber? Well, the problem is with a dibber, it can often skim through a little bit. So a nice little glass stem float like this carp shallow with the bulk right underneath the float is perfect. And then the depth that you fish, I think, is quite important. And this is something that I've sort of, after a lot of experimenting, come up with. And it's the distance between that leg and that leg on my box. So it's roughly 15 inches. I think that's perfect. Obviously you can play about with that, but I've rarely caught or had much success fishing like this deep or anything like that. You normally want it falling past them away from the float, if that makes sense. So flicking it past your pole tip and letting the hook bait come down and then repeating it. I've got a size 16 GPM on there. That could be a KKM quite happily, and I'd even use probably an 18 KKH on somewhere like Larford where I'm expecting a big fish. And then I've just got a band on the bottom. The band's quite important. There's 2 hook baits I like to use when mugging fish. First is a Robin Red 6mm or 8mm pellet. So just the Sonu ones, but loads of companies do them, but I really like them. They're a nice sort of, I don't know what you call it, like a dull sort of strong red, like a really bold red. And for some reason in coloured water, they just seem to really pick them out. And if the fish are swimming, you know, in a decent pace, then they could be really good. The other hook bait is a wafter. Now, I like a 6mm. I've just got some of the Power Scopex ones. The reason I like these is there's some strong red coloured ones. I'm not really bothered about using whites or yellows or anything like that. It's them red ones that I'm interested in, and that's what actually has been doing the damage today. Now the beauty of them is, with the hook size that I've got on, they actually pop up, which is obviously no good. So what I've done, I band it as normal, and then I trim the ends off, and I just keep trimming it and trying it in the edge until it just sinks slowly like that. And the beauty of it is, it just gives you a little bit longer fishing. So like that probably takes 10 seconds to sink the full distance of the rig, whereas a pellet might take 2 or 3 seconds. So on days like today, like there's some fish there, I can see them now, really moving around slow. This just gives you a little bit longer in that killing zone, and it can be really effective. It's not always the answer, the slow sinker, but today it has actually been the best hook bait. So the rig, it's just simple, like I say, strong durable tackle, get the job done. as Andy May and Jamie would say, get the job done, and that's all you're worried about. They're not tackle shy when you're mugging them. You know, you're literally just trying to catch their eye with your hook bait. Right, so that's the tackle bit done. Now let's go and try and catch some fish. Now, we've got a bit of a helicopter going over. Now, the real good guys at this, the people who do really well at it, time and time again, you know, Andy Power, Jamie Hughes, even Rob Wotton's brilliant at this. For when he ever does it, he's brilliant at it, you know, and it's committing to the method and observation, watercraft, whatever you want to call it. Obviously spotting the trends of where the fish are coming from. Today, it looks to me like they're swimming pretty much bang down the middle of the lake. They seem to be going out, generally coming from left to right, and they're coming in and they're doing a big lap, almost swinging back round, going up there and then coming back again. So I can sort of use that to my advantage a little bit. I can pick my moments to ship out and try and get my rig in front of them. If I can predict kind of when the fish are coming to get me, I can make sure that my rig is a little bit in front of them. You know, some days you want to land it on the nose, other days you want it a metre in front of them, you know, when they're swimming a bit faster. It's all about working that out on the day. Now, a few fish have just come through there. What's noticeable today is that, and this is common at the minute, you know, fisheries, the water's cold. It's actually really clear, this lake at the minute. You know, we've had all this hail and just crap weather, and it's knocked a lot of even prolific fisheries like this, just can't cope with it. And as soon as any sun comes out, like we're getting odd spells, it's uncloudy now, but every now and again it comes out really sunny, and it's noticeable that when that happens, wind dies a little bit, the fish will come straight up to the top. So it's just spotting those little moments when is the best time to mug, and committing to it is the biggest factor, I believe. You know, I've wasted so many matches where I've had like mugging as an afterthought. By that I mean like I'm maybe fishing long on the deck, got my mugging rig set up, sun comes out, half a dozen muggers present themselves. By the time I've shipped back, got my mugging rig on, they've gone. The anglers who are good at this spot that it's going to be a mugging day. You know, it's going to be hot, it's going to be sunny, cold nights, and the fish will come straight up, and they know that that's the only way to catch them, or the most effective way to catch them. You know, they might feed later in the day, but you can guarantee if they're cruising around like they are here when the sun comes out, then they're not feeding. They're just not feeding. So at the minute, you wouldn't believe there was a cruiser here. There's no signs of them, but I can guarantee when the sun comes out, there'll be some fish about, and it's all about making sure you're ready for them, because, you know, you're not just going to cook every fish that you try and mug. It can be really frustrating, in fact. You know, you could try 100 times and not catch one, and then you'll catch 3 and 3 chucks. That's just the nature of the beast, and that's where committing comes to it. So what I'm thinking is, you know, on this day, the best chances are when it goes flat calm and the sun's just about to come out, so I'll probably get some chances, because it's amazing how fast they're reacting to the sun. You know, the fish are really, really responsive. As soon as it, yes, there we go. So as soon as, you know, the water's gone flat calm, and we've hooked one there. I was waiting for the one to come past. I had the pole laid across my lap, just waiting, and I could see a little shoal coming in from the left, so I flicked it in front of him, and he's had it. That was just on a 6mm pellet, that one, on the old red 6mm. And now, while I'm playing this fish, obviously the elastic's doing the work for me. I can really observe the water. You know, it buys me a bit of time, this does. You know, if I can go in and catch another one, because I've spent my time playing this fish, I can just observe the lake, see if there's any more opportunities. The sun might come out again in a minute. The wind's sort of all right at the minute. So it's all about now taking my time with this one and spotting where there could be a potential option. I've just noticed that in the last sort of 10 minutes, while I was doing this talk and observing the fish, a lot of fish are coming closer in. You know, it's 3:30 now. It's getting to the point where the fish, if they were going to have a little proper feed in the edge or whatever, it would be about now. So they will start coming a bit closer in. See that? It's prime now. It's gone flat calm. I think the sun's about to come out, and I can see some fish straight away. It's amazing how responsive they are. Soon, look, there's a big gang of them there. They've just come from nowhere. It's just amazing how quickly they respond to that sun coming out, or even the hint of sun coming out. They're just desperate to get warm. So, and if I was fishing on the bottom out there, probably not catching anything anyway because the fish are on the top, but by the time I ship back and put the mugging rig on, that opportunity would be gone. Pour a bit of net in. There we go. Nice little mirror. So that fish then would buy me some time. You know, he's a good. Look at that, right in the top lip. He's a nice fish. He's probably 3 or 4 pound. Lovely mirror. And it just, because I've had chance now, I've caught a fish. And I can see some more fish coming. You know, my pole's not been in the water for a little spell. So we'll put a fresh pellet on. And just chill, there's no need to rush. Unless there was a load of fish and a real obvious opportunity, there's no need to rush. Mugging's a simple method, but it requires a bit of patience and a bit of watercraft, whatever you want to call it. And a bit of spotting. Hopefully we'll get a nice run of blue sky in a minute, because that is definitely the main ingredient today of them coming out. As soon as that sun pops out, they're desperate to get warm, like I said. So, you know, in a match, if this was happening, you know, it's obvious that when the sun goes in, the fish are starting to come closer to the bank and all that business. You know, I'd be starting to think now was the time to feed my edge, and it sort of goes into the timing aspect what I spoke about on my edge fishing video the other week. You know, if the fish are cruising around in the middle, they're not feeding in the edge, but all of a sudden, the last sort of couple of groups of cruisers that I've actually seen have been here, close in. You know, I've had to break down and have a little go at them. So in a match situation, I'd be thinking, right, even if there's 10 minutes to go, I may get a bonus fish down the edge or half an hour to go, and I'd pot a bit of bait in and go and try it. And that's like using what's happening in front of you to tell you when to feed the edge or when to go in the edge. And I think that's so important. Right now, we've got a little bit of a window here, because I think the sun's getting ready to come out. The water's gone, it's gone flat calm. So there's a chance I might get a little visit. They're not cruising through as much, like I say, they're definitely changing now, the fish. They might be starting to look at coming in the edge. Definitely less muggers in the last sort of few minutes. So what I'm going to do, because I've noticed that the last lot of fish that was on there started to get closer and closer. So I'm making a conscious effort of when I'm waiting for a fish or a group of fish to come through, I'm going to actually hold like you know, the top kit and 3 sections on. Because I'm getting a few little opportunities when they're coming past here, and if I've got my pole all set up, then I'm just going to miss that, because it's so hard to have 16 metres of pole and try and flick it in short. You're going to end up breaking a section. So rather than breaking a section, yes, and it's paid off already. That's amazing. So just then, this is where the watercraft element really comes in and really applies. Good fish that, it's going mental. Oof. Jesus Christ. He is not happy. So this is where this one's taking me for a right jolly ride. It must be a good fish. But that's where a little observation has caught me that fish, and it'll be a perfect one to end on. You know, I've had all my pole together and sitting with it on the rollers, waiting for that shoal of carp to come down the middle, and I've just noticed, you know, it's getting to that time of day when the fish are starting to think about coming in the edge to gonu, and there was an opportunity there. The last few fish I've seen have been closer in, so I've made sure I've been broke off at top kitten 3, and it's just given me an opportunity to mug one short. And actually, the two fish that I've actually caught on this video have both been at that distance. So just because it's, you know, fish are down the middle, never right off down this, you know, a bit closer in. Look, there's one there now while I'm playing this one that's coming a little bit closer. So I'd say that was a good decision, because it's... One tip is always give yourself one section when you're fishing, because there could be, you know, there's big fish in this lake now, and having that one section, even when you get down to a top kick, can just give you that extra stretch you need if it bores off. Here's a good fish. Yeah, right in the chops. It's not a monster or anything, but very welcome. How hard did that fight then? Lovely, right in the top lip. Perfect. And that one sums up mugging perfectly, I'd say. We've got, look at that, right in the top lip. And it was just an opportunity that came up. We noticed that the fish were coming much closer to the bank. We've spotted some fish that, you know, they've been largely cruising down the middle and actually been quite hard to catch. And I've spotted that the fish have started to come in a bit closer, an odd fish. And I don't know if it's because I can be a bit more controlled or what, but I've actually caught two there on this video closer in. But just so having the pole shipped down at a manageable distance has allowed me to flick in at sort of 7-8 metres and catch some nice fish. So hopefully that's mugging sort of explained. It's a deadly method at this time of year, especially at the moment, because like I say, we're getting cold nights still, and these fish are desperate for a bit of warmth. You know, they just want that bit of warmth. So, you know, if you are out on a fish anywhere the next few weeks, mugging is going to be the method without a shadow of a doubt. And as soon as, you know, we get any sort of amount of hot weather, then they're going to be on the top, I'm telling you now. So get them mugging rigs ready, super simple. Give these tips a try and hopefully you'll catch loads of fish.